भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया। भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 14, entitled King Pururava, enchanted by Urvashi. Text 22 and 23. We will read text 23 together. Text 22 I'll read myself. Gritam ne veera bhakshyam syan nekshet tvayantra maitunat tvan yatra maitunat vivasasam tat tatheti pratipede mahamanaha. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Bechara Arvind, Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Urvashi said, "My dear hero, only preparations made in ghee, clarified butter, will be my eatables. And I shall not want to see you naked at any time, except at the time of sexual intercourse." The great-minded King Pururava accepted these proposals. Text 23. Can you repeat? Aho Rupam Aho Bhavaha Aho Rupam Aho Bhavo Naraloka Vimohanam Naraloka Vimohanam Kaha Na Seveta Manujaha Kona Seveta Manuja Devim Tvam Swayam Agatam Devim Tvam Swayam Agatam Aho Rupam Aho Bhavo Naraloka Vimohanam Kona Seveta Manuja Devim Tvam Swayam Agatam Aho Rupam Aho Bhavo Naraloka Vimohanam Kona Seveta Manuja Devim Tvam Swayam Agatam. Aho, wonderful. Rupam, beauty. Aho, wonderful. Bhavaha, postures. Naraloka, in human society or on the planet Earth. Vimohanam, so attractive. Kaha, who? Na, not Seveta can accept Manuja among human beings. Devim, a demigoddess. Tvam, like you. Swayam Agata, who has personally arrived. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhagavatam Arvind, Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Pururava's reply, O beautiful one, your beauty is wonderful and your gestures are also wonderful. Indeed, you are attractive to all human society. Therefore, since you have come of your own accord from the heavenly planets, who on earth would not agree to serve a demigoddess such as you? Kindly repeat the translation. Pururava replied, O beautiful one, your beauty is wonderful, and your gestures are also wonderful. Indeed, you are attractive to all human society. Therefore, since you have come of your own accord from the heavenly planets, who on earth would not agree to serve a demigoddess such as you? Purport. It appears from the words of Urvashi that the standard of living, eating, behavior, and speech are all different on the heavenly planets from the standards on this planet Earth. The inhabitants of the heavenly planets do not eat such abominable things as meat and eggs. Everything they eat is prepared in clarified butter, nor do they like to see either men or women naked, except at the time of sexual intercourse. To live naked or almost naked is uncivilized. But on this planet Earth, it has now become fashionable to dress half naked, and sometimes those like hippies live completely naked. Indeed, there are many clubs and societies for this purpose. Such conduct is not allowed, however, on the heavenly planets. The inhabitants of the heavenly planets, aside from being very beautiful, both in complexion and bodily features, are well behaved and long living, and they eat first class food in goodness. These are some of the distinctions between the inhabitants of the heavenly planets and the inhabitants of earth. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport and translation to Canto 9, Chapter 14, texts 22 and 23 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we see when Pururava, the son of Buddha or moon, when he desired to have the company of Urvashi, a heavenly damsel. In fact, it is said that Urvashi is said to be the most attractive heavenly damsel among the many other well-known heavenly damsels or heavenly angels like Rambha, Menaka, etc. But Urvashi is supposed to be the most beautiful of all. And somehow she was cursed by Mitra and Varuna to come down to this earth planet. And while she was on this earth, she once happened to see King Pururava and she became attracted by him. And when Pururava saw this beautiful woman, he also became attracted and they both wanted to marry each other. Then Urvashi had some conditions in that marriage, and these are the conditions which she had set forth to King Pururava. She said, my dear king, Veera, O hero. He has addressed King Pururava as a hero. Gritham me Bhakshyam Syan. My eatables will only be made from clarified butter or ghee. I will not eat any preparation which is not made from ghee. Gritham me Bhakshyam Syan. Then that was condition 1. Then Nekshe Tvanyatra Maitunat. Na ikshe, nekshe, na ikshe. I should not see. Iksha means to see. Na ikshe means I should not see. Twan means you. The anyatra maitunat. Anytime other than when we unite with each other, I should not uh, vivasasam. I should not see you naked. Vasa, vivasa. Vasa means being dressed properly. Vivasa means vigata vasaha, without being dressed. In other words, being naked. So, na iksha tvan yatra maitunat vivasasam. I should not see you naked at any time other than when we unite with each other. So, Pratipede Maha Manaha, King Pururava accepted these proposals and promised to fulfill these conditions. So, King Pururava replied that your beauty is wonderful, your gestures are wonderful. Aho Rupam Aho Bhavo. He is expressing the wonder of this woman in terms of her beauty and in terms of our even simple gestures. Basically, every movement of this woman is bewildering the mind of Pururava. Naraloka Vimohanam. He's saying you are attractive to the entirety of human society, not only me. Naraloka. All human beings on this earth are attracted by your beauty. You are simply wonderful. Kone seveta manujaha devim tvam swayamagata. Kone seveta manuja. Among the human beings, kaha na seveta. Who is there in this entire globe who doesn't want to serve you? Not Krishna. Who on this entire earth planet is there who is not willing to serve you? And he is addressing it as Devi, O demigoddess. And Tvam Swayam Agatam, you have personally come down to this earth and you have come to meet me. And you are voluntarily proposing union with me. How fortunate I am, how blessed I am. My life has become perfect. So, this is Pururava's statements to Urvashi. So, coming to the discussion of the first verse under today's discussion, and Prabhupada's purport in the next verse also. Prabhupada makes some important points about the standard of living of the heavenly personalities and the standard of living of the earthly personalities. Completely different. You take from any perspective, be it their behavior, their speech, their eating habits, their living style, they're completely different. They're very refined, very cultured. Persons in the heavenly planets are very, very cultured, well behaved. In other words, if somebody is desirous of going to a heavenly planet, he must be cultured, well behaved. His habits must be clean. His thoughts must be pure. So many things. His eating habits must be sattvic. He must be overall a sattvic person. Rajasic and tamasic people cannot enter Swarga or heavenly planets. One has to become sattvic. Otherwise, one cannot enter the heavenly planets. And one must change his style of living, his interactions, his speech, his uh, thoughts, his eating habits, his personal cleanliness, and so on and so forth. They must be, you must, in other words, you must become well behaved. Sushilaha. Sushila. Sushila means one who is endowed with godly qualities. That's why there is a famous verse. Uh, Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunaistattra samasate suraha harava bhaktasya kuto mahat guna manorathe nasiti davato bahi. It's a very famous verse. Srila Prabhupada quotes many a times. A very important verse in this regard. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana. Yasya bhakti means when one has developed bhakti towards the Supreme Lord Vishnu or Krishna, and he has become akinchana. Akinchana means uninterested in anything material, unattached to anything material. Akinchana, nishkinchana, akinchana means no material possessions, no material assets. It also means one who's not interested or one who is not carried away by the influence of material assets, material possessions, material attractions. It also means that. So, one meaning is one who has nothing to possess in this world. He has no material assets, no material opulences, no material power, material beauty, nothing. Literal meaning. But actually, in the context of devotees, from the Srimad Bhagavatam perspective, it actually means Nishkinchana means one who has nothing to possess other than the lotus feet of Krishna. Lord Krishna's lotus feet is the greatest and the only asset which he possesses. Such a person or a devotee is called Nishkinchana Bhakta or Akinchana Bhakta. Kunti Marian also recognizes about this in her praise to Lord Krishna. Namo kinchana vittaya nivritta gunavrittaye atma ramaya shantaya kaivalya pataye namaha. So she says that you are worshipped by the akinchana or the nishkinchanas. Krishna is the property of the impoverished. Impoverished meaning one who has nothing to possess materially, or one who is completely detached from all material attractions and bewilderments. Even if they are present in their fullness, he has no attraction. Just like Prahlad Maharaj and Sudama, we can take both the examples. Sudama literally had nothing with him. People always keep quoting this example. You should become like Sudama. That means you should become poor. Devotee means poor. So therefore, he became a great devotee of Krishna. Yes, that's a good example. One part of the example. But we see Prahalad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, Maharaja Ambarish, the Pandavas. They were great kings, yielding great power amidst great material Aishwarya, unlimited opportunity for material enjoyment, but completely detached. King Rishabhadeva, King Bharata, so many examples. Swayambhuva Manu, the Prachetas. So all throughout Bhagavatam you will see all pure devotees of the Lord. Bali Maharaj, completely detached. They were kings of all the three lokas, no material attraction. Even Yudhishthira Maharaj, King Parikshit, at any moment they are willing to give up everything instantly. So this is called detachment. This shows their detachment. Just like when we are about to die, we know what is the extent of attachment we have. At that time, our material attachment is tested. In other, who is the person who suffers more at the point of death? Srila Prabhupada explains, one who is most attached to his body, to the material possessions, and to all his earthly possessions and positions, he suffers the most. The pain of leaving this body. More one is material attached, more he will suffer at the time of death. More one has developed detachment from this body and this world, even before the death comes, he'll have a smooth passage. Because he knows I'm not the body. I don't belong to this world. I belong to Lord Krishna. Imagine it is such a great relief. Unfortunately, the conditioned soul does not have this knowledge, is not blessed with this knowledge. It's a blessing. The blessing of belongingness to Krishna, which is a fact. If you can live in this consciousness, I belong to Krishna, I belong to the spiritual world, then where is the loss and where is the pain in quitting this body, which is a bad bargain? All through the life, it has given only suffering to me, from birth to death. This body has only given me suffering and nothing else. Elsewhere, Srila Prabhupada explains about this point. This body has given nothing other than simply misery to me. And yet we are attached. So we can imagine the degree of illusion and ignorance, deep ignorance, the conditioned soul is put into, but by his own choice. So therefore, the saintly persons move across the globe to awaken the conditioned souls from this deep ignorance. So that they actually come to real life of their spiritual existence, that they belong to Krishna and they belong to the spiritual world, and there's nothing to fear. So the pure devotee of the Lord travels across the globe and gives confidence to all the jivas. There is nothing to worry. He gives great assurance and confidence to all the conditioned souls. Take shelter of Krishna. There's nothing to worry. There's nothing to lose. But otherwise, we will simply lead a life of ignorance and will waste this human form of life for nothing. So, we are attracted by this material body, and this is simply a direct influence of the three modes of nature. And based on the kind of influence the three modes of nature has on our body, we have different kinds of liking, interests, desires, habits. Everything is simply an effect of the three modes of material nature and nothing else. Hmm? The conditioned soul even does is not even aware of this. The way you dress, the liking towards a certain kind of dressing, certain kind of eating, certain kind of lifestyle, certain kind of habits, desires, thoughts. These are simply the effect of the three modes on you. It is not your desire. It is not your liking. It is not your thought process. It is not your habit. As a spirit soul, this much we know, it is easy to detach from the bad habits and the wrong uh, eating habits, sleeping habits, working habits, goals. Easy to pull away from all these wrong material uh, habits and material qualities. So coming back to this verse, it's talking about yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunastitra samasate suraha. So the devatas, they are very refined, cultured people. They're also human beings, but very refined in their behavior. And a Vaishnava is the supposed to be the personification or supposed to possess the qualities of all the devatas. Because devatas are refined people, highly cultured people, all their qualities are considered divine. And a Vaishnava is supposed to possess all godly, divine qualities of all the devatas. Imagine the position of a Vaishnava. It's very, very glorious. Devata itself is a very highly cultured, respected person. And what to speak of a Vaishnava? All the Devata's qualities are to be found in him by the virtue of being a devotee of the Lord. In fact, Bhagavatam says, by the virtue of being a devotee, without separate endeavor, all godly qualities, divine qualities, qualities of the demigods will automatically shine forth in him. Sarvair gunaistattra samasate suraha. So, what are those things? Some things are mentioned here, even by Urvashi, that she wants to eat only preparations made from ghee. Puris fried in ghee, chapatis, you know, roasted in ghee. All preparations in ghee. Oil was not known. There's no oil in the heavenly planet. Even in the Vedic life, there is no refined oil. It's only pure ghee. And milk products, because it will prepare a when you consume milk products of any form, milk, curds, butter, cheese, ghee, etc., then you develop what is called as spinal brain tissues, which is capable of understanding spiritual subject matter. Your brain becomes spiritually sharp if you drink cow's milk, not buffalo's milk. Of course, nothing against buffalo's milk, but yet the fact remains if you drink cow's milk regularly and eat cow's products in the form of butter, cheese, curds, milk sweets, ghee, etc., then you develop finer brain tissues. That is why Srila Prabhupada calls this milk as a miracle food. Miracle food. There's no substitute to cow's milk. Very young children and old people, when they can't eat solid food, milk is the only possibility. It is so important. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, text number 7, 8, 9, and 10. These are very important verses in today's context of discussion. As I was trying to tell, how based on the influence of the modes, one has a certain liking. Now, these texts in particular talk about the influence of the modes of nature as far as the eating habits are concerned. Ahara tu api sarvasya trivido bhavati priyaha. Ahara tu api sarvasya. Food sarvasya for everyone. Trividaha or of three kinds. Bhavati priyaha. See, Krishna has used the word priyaha. There's a certain liking, certain dearness. Based on the influence of the mode to a particular kind of food. Similarly, yagnas tapas tata dhanam tesham vedam imam shrunu. Krishna is saying. Similarly, there are three kinds of yajnas, three kinds of tapasya, three kinds of charity. Tesham vedam imam shrunu. What are the differences? Please hear from me, O Arjuna. आयु सत्व बल आरोग्य सुख प्रीति विवर्धनाः रस्या स्निग्धा स्थिरा हृदया आहार सात्विक प्रियः. Ahara Satvika Priya. Krishna is saying, those in Sattva Guna, Satvika, Priyaha, they like a certain kind of food. Being influenced by Sattva Guna. What is that kind of food? Rasya Stigda Stira Hridya. So Krishna is saying, such foods are Rasya, very sweet. Snigdha, very sweet. Rasya, very juicy. And Stira and Hridya, very fattening, means nourishing and very palatable. Very palatable. What is the effect of these kind of foods? Ayu, Sattva, Bala, Arogya, Sukha, Priti. 6 effects. It increases one's Ayu. When one eats sattvic food, there's a scientific basis of why one should eat sattvic food. Because Ayu, it increases the span of life. Life expectancy is increased in a very simple way, even by eating. You don't get any medical arrangement for that. Ayuhu increased. Sattva, it simultaneously purifies your existence. By eating sattvic food, you become pure in your thought. It means many things. You become cool-headed, not hot-headed. You become very sober, not rajasic or agitated or harsh. That's why you see sattvic people, they're not very violent, they're well behaved. Rajasic people, tamasic people, they're not well behaved. So food makes a very big uh, impact in one's behavior. So sattva, it purifies one's existence. Bala, it gives you good health. Good strength, physical strength. Sometimes people are accused. The devotees are accused. Oh, you people are all weak. You're all curd rice people. Sometimes we are accused like that. Telugu we say, Daddojanam. These are all curd rice people. Yes, curd rice people are very strong in health. They're not sick people. They don't go to doctor. Curd rice people don't go to doctor. So they are all physically very fit. Huh? Arogya, their health is also very good. Maintains good health. You eat sattvic food. For all practical purposes, you will not feel sick. You will not fall sick. For all practical purposes. Sukha. Hmm? Eating sattvic food is so nice. Krishna is saying Sukha. Preeti. Satisfaction. Gives you satisfaction. So 6 effects, qualities of sattvic food. I don't have time to go to the details of each of this to describe. I'm just explaining the word to word point. Maybe we can some other time we can discuss more. Then what about rajasic food? Khatu, amala, lavana, ati ushna, tikshna, ruksha. 6 kinds of food constitute rajasic food. Ahara rajasa ishta. Those in Rajoguna like this kind of food. But the only misfortune would be the effect of the rajasic food would be dukkha, shoka, amaya pradaha. It will give you misery as opposed to sukha of sattvic food. Shoka. Krishna is using the word shoka. Misery. Dukkha means distress. Yeah, Krishna, where I'm going with that. Shoka means misery. Amaya prada means it will cause you disease as opposed to sattvic food, which is arogya. See, all opposite you can see in the next words. There it is arogya, here it is amaya prada. And there it is sukha, here it is shoka and dukkha. So what is that kind of food? Katu. That means bitter foods. Amla means sour foods. Foods which are very sour, some people like that. Lavana, salty. Atiushna, very hot. Tikshna, pungent. Ruksha, very dry. Vidahina, is burning the tongue. After you eat the meal, one green chili you eat. So burning the tongue. Ahara rajasa seshta. Those in Rajoguna like that food. There's a chili sabji. Guntur chili. The eyes rolling down your eyes. But he wants more of that. More of that. Lavana, very salty. Put more salt, more salt, more salt. Ati Ushna. Person also will be Ati Ushna only. You cannot approach him. A very hot person. You touch means, what? Over? Go away. So all, he's a hot person. because he eats all hot thing. Hot means not steam hot. That is sattvic food. This hot means blood is hot because food is guntur chili or green chili, like that. They like too much salty things, too much of chili, too much of oily stuff. Rajasic people. Now they're slaves of this kind of consciousness and taste. They themselves are not aware. Want more oil. Sometimes I remember, especially go to the north. Remember once we went to Badri, 20 years back, 18 years back. They made one sabji. One North Indian we had taken. So you know the Akshay Patra vessel, our sambar vessel, right? So in that half was filled with sambar. In that about 40% is sambar, 60% is oil. So I am trying to lift and lift. Sabji is not coming only. Because generally from the top you start serving, then you go to the down. So I'm lifting, going, my spoon is going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Still sabji is not coming. Finally I put the whole spoon deep in, like deep sea diving. Fully inside. Then I got little sabji and this much oil. Like this. Your health is finished. Tamasic food is very interesting. Bhojanam tamasa priyam. Those who in tamoguna like this kind of food, what is that? Yatayamam gatarasam puti parushitam chayat uchishtam amedhyam. Again 6 in number. All 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. Krishna is very, the Lord is very describing it very nicely. So here he is saying, what are the kind of foods? Which is tamoguna, yatayamam. Food which is cooked more than 3 hours, except prasadam. If you eat any food which is more than 3 hours, it first of all it is tamasic, therefore it will create tamoguna impact. That means it will pull down your consciousness. Now what are these modes doing? It is pulling down your consciousness to that particular mode of action. Therefore even sattvic is not good. We will try to understand that little later. Sattvic food is not very desirable still. But the best among the Rajasic, Tamasic, Sattvic is the Sattvic, but yet not the best. Better among the best, but not the best. Better among the best, but not the best. So Yatayamam, food that is cooked more than 3 hours before being eaten. You cook on Monday, you eat on Sunday, what's your position? That's what happens in the developed countries. You cook on Monday, you eat on Sunday. You eat the same thing till Sunday. You pile up your clothes from Monday to Saturday and wash once and for all, wholesale washing on Sunday. What happens? You wash once a month. What happens? So you are yourself subjecting to what is called as thamoguna. You are also calling for infection and disease and decrement of immunity. So many things. So yatayamam gatarasam, tasteless food, bland food, tasteless food. Puti, bad smelling. Paryushitam, decomposed food. Uchishtam, among some people, uh, not among some people today, the fashion in Kali Yuga, you share the same plate, 10 people will eat. Maha to the power of 10 prasadam. It is uchishta. It is thamoguna. The scriptures say, except the Lord's Mahaprasadam or the Acharya's leftover remnants, any other food if you consume, it is simply tamasic. And you will also become diseased. If you share the same plate, you will go to thamoguna, you will also become diseased. You will become sick. So uchishtam, remnants of food eaten by others, is tamasic. Amedhyam, untouchable, like meat, fish, eggs. But the people in Thamoguna, it is very dear to them, and they argue, and they will prepare a scientific paper on that. So Prabhupada explained that everything they eat in the heavenly planet is prepared in clarified butter. They don't like any other food stuff which is not prepared in butter. In contrast, we can see in this world it's completely different. Abominable things, bad smelling, decomposed food people like. Foods in defrosted mode, 6 months, and they will like that. Uh, I'll quote one instance and I'll close. One or two instances. In Burma, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada's guru, had one center in Rangoon. And there is a famous delicacy called nafi. You heard about that? Okay, nafi. If you happen to meet Rangoon, don't miss this delicacy. It's called nafi. What is this nafi? You're eager to know what is the nafi? So in Burma, in every household entrance, there'll be a big jug. Any animal dies, worm, insect, cockroach, rat, cat, anything, everything which dies, put it in the jug. Once the jug is filled up, you close it. Then get another fresh jug, again start filling up with insects, ants, worms, cockroaches, etc. So all the houses, they have this system. Like dustbin, no? We cover our dustbin, they cover this uh, dustbin which is not dustbin. Don't say dustbin. So all kinds of creatures which are dead. And they'll be, after it is filled up, it will be closed. And for 1 month, it will be kept aside. Then one more jug, like that the cycle continues. After 1 month, the liquid from all these dead, cannot even describe, right? The liquid from all these will come out, secretions, and they'll form a nice pickle. So in the food, they will put this pickle and they will eat. This is their pickle. So when Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur sent his disciples to start a center in Rangoon, they are also taken up one house in the neighborhood. And they start preparing puris with ghee, frying in ghee. And obviously the Indian system, because we don't have baking, mostly it's all cooked. Most of the foods are cooked. So we'll keep the stove next to the window. So all that fumes, the air is carrying ghee fragrance to the neighborhood houses. Such a divine atmosphere it is creating. But the neighborhood, there was a panchayat. They have a regular panchayat, they also have. And there's a big complaint from all the neighbors. And they wanted these people to vacate these Vaishnavas, Gaudiya Vaishnavas from this house, one next house in Rangoon to vacate. Then Bhakti Maharaj got the news, there's something serious. So he says, what is the matter? He said, they are not able to tolerate the smell of ghee. They're thinking like that. And then this nafi smell, so nice, so divine. Bhojanam tamasa priya. This is the position. In some other country, they eat chocolate-coated ants, chocolate-coated grasshoppers, chocolate-coated frog legs. These are their chocolates. Tamasa priya. So this is the position. Same thing. This is with eating. Same thing with, and those in Satuna, they like milk, curds, butter, cheese, sandesh, rasagulla, all these things. So it depends on the guna. Similarly with, the goal of life, with the habits, everything. So, so that is why Pururama being Pururama Nurvashi, all of course they are from heavenly planets, so their lifestyle is more or less sattvic. So they are not interested in tamasic habits. Even in sex life, they don't want to see anyone naked, either of the partner, except when they're uh, going to unite. You see? So this being naked, half dressed on a normal basis is a very uncultured human behavior, uncivilized human behavior, which is not to be found in the heavenly planets. In fact, if we have such kind of inclinations, we cannot even think of going to heavenly planets. Forget spiritual world. One has to refine one's habit. Cultured person means fully and properly dressed. That's culture. So, therefore, one has to strive to develop at least sattvic habits. Sattva is a good platform to come to spiritual life. But spiritual life is independent of all the gunas and superior to all the gunas, transcendental to all the gunas. It's called Shuddha Sattva, Vasudeva Sattva. So one has to come to Krishna conscious platform ultimately. Therefore, even sattvic food is, in that sense, maybe desirable but not the best. Because one should take Krishna Prasadam, which is not even sattvic, it is transcendental. It is transcendental. One will become completely purified of his material contamination and attract the attention of Krishna. So you eat sattvic food, you like sattvic things. You take rajasic food, you are like rajasic things. Similarly, you eat Krishna Prasadam, you will start liking Krishna conscious life, Krishna conscious existence, habits, like rising early in the morning, Mangalarti, chanting Hare Krishna, devotee association, you will like. Just like Sattvic person wants to move with Sattvic people, live in a Sattvic way. Rajasic person, influenced by Rajoguna, depending upon the influence, you have that liking for everything, for all facets of life. Similarly, if you are Krishna conscious, influenced by Krishna consciousness, all your facets of life will become fully Krishna conscious. This is the secret. So therefore, we have to keep the company of devotees. We'll stop here. Granthrat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.